Your biological signature is currently compromised by heroic impulse. Look at your aggression threshold, the way your nervous system triggers an immediate surge of direct confrontation, shouting, or physical posturing. The act of discharging your tactical capital, the moment you feel threatened, effectively allowing the matrix to install a loudness siren into your apex frequency. You are a biological unit experiencing a state of terminal stealth liquidation. The matrix has successfully branded direct conflict as courage and subtlety as cowardice. But in the terminal of the absolute power grid, silent warfare is the only biological fact that determines who removes the obstacle and who is merely a noisy casualty. You are living in a state of chronic exhibition infection, where your activation energy is being spent warning the enemy rather than liquidating their position. The system doesn't want your victory. It wants your conflict to be the proof that your spirit has been successfully indexed as a predictable combatant for the architect. Thousands of years ago, superiority was defined by the biological capacity to kill without being seen. Your ancestor, the sovereign of the unmapped dark, understood that the clashing of swords was a tracking beacon for the vulture. He mastered primal grounding in the law of the invisible siege. He didn't seek duels or public vindication within the tribal hierarchy. He offered the visual rage of a total, unannounced atmospheric collapse, the state where the enemy's resources, reputation, and sanity vanish while your hands remain clean. His hierarchy was built on the foundation of the zero-trace mandate, the understanding that the human brain is a machine that achieves its highest strategic density only when it operates as a ghost variable that has purged the need for credit. His biological rebellion was his total refusal to show his face. He possessed a mind that treated drama as a biological toxin, stripping away the ego sludge until only the monolith of his raw, sharpened result remained. He understood that the moment you challenge someone, you have surrendered your apex signature. To destroy an enemy, you must first become psychologically repulsed by the concept of proving you won. Silent warfare is the implementation of the collar of the phantom, the refusal of operational visibility for your final internal dominance. The system wants you to be assertive and outspoken, words that mean harvestable and weak. Absolute sovereignty is a biological siege of the causality grid. It is the visual rage of the architect, seeing the social grid for what it is, a series of confrontation hooks, stimulus-response lures, and deciding to be the one who shorts the circuit by being indifferently invisible. You must develop a clinical, cold contempt for mainstream justice ethics. Fighting for your rights is a horizontal bond for the herd to keep them tethered to a common level of legal and social exhaustion. Absolute presence is a vertical tool for the elite. You must learn to occupy the blind spots of the social radar. Use the temporal noose of the total information blackout to force the rival into a state of paranoid decay. Use the false safety of a calm, robotic delivery to mask the activation of your total internal independence. This is the collar of freedom. By mastering the art of the unmoved soul, you become the only person in the room whose impact is an unshakable physical fact. The Matrix cannot simulate the leverage of a man who has no biological need to be identified as the source of the damage. Your time is the temporal noose, and your need for a witness to your revenge is the knot. Every threat you make to feel powerful and every argument you win in public is a signature on your own biological death warrant. I command you, initiate the total tactical audit. Your mind is a biological weapon, and it is currently being jammed by the static of your own socialized fear of being sneaky. You must perform a hard reset of the combat instincts. Stop being confrontational, the industrial waste designed to keep you at the bottom of the ledger. Stop participating in their shared honor myths and conflict protocols, the digital propaganda designed to make you believe that standing your ground is a victory. Stop using their social protocols, the narratives designed to keep you in a state of constant strategic failure. You must prune your life of relational parasites. If a victory requires you to announce your intent to be felt, it is a biological saboteur. You must learn to love the weight of the absolute sovereignty. This is the monolith strategy, becoming a biological fortress that is the shadow by choice and sovereign by design. Command: erase the trace or be the target. The neural interface of your tactical allocation is currently suffering from ego signal leakage. Look at your vindication threshold, the way your nervous system triggers a micro spike of pride or satisfaction, the act of discharging your strategic potential. The moment you want the enemy to know why they are failing, shouting, effectively allowing the Matrix to install a recognition tether into your apex frequency. You are a biological unit experiencing a total anonymity sovereignty liquidation. The Matrix has successfully replaced your primal predator stealth with a systemic need for credit. You believe that by confronting your bully or winning the debate, you are reclaiming power, but in the terminal of the absolute power grid, direct conflict is just a biological sinkhole used to ensure your neurological resources are wasted on the architect's public theater. This is the visual rage of the domesticated male, seeing your high-value activation energy being bled out into public feuds and legal battles, while the true operator remains in a state of absolute zero, converting his total rejection of visibility into a biological weight that collapses the enemy's infrastructure from within the shadows. The system doesn't want your victory. It wants your drama to be the proof that your spirit has been successfully socialized and placed in a public spectacle loop. In the ancient hierarchy, the law of the unbreaking stone, the master was the one who could survive the total deletion of the enemy's awareness. Your ancestor, the sovereign of the unmapped dark, understood that visibility was a tactical death sentence, not an honor. He mastered primal grounding by becoming an atmospheric autocrat, a figure who understood that the only way to retain authority was to be the invisible cause in a world of reactive effects. He didn't seek vindication or public apologies within the tribal hierarchy. He provided the visual rage of a total, unannounced causality annexation. His hierarchy was built on the foundation of asymmetric erasure, the understanding that the human brain is a machine that achieves peak respect density only when it realizes it is in the presence of a force that destroys without ever appearing on the radar. His biological rebellion was his total refusal to show up. He possessed a mind that treated direct confrontation as a biological trap, a signal that his trajectory was being averaged out by the herd. He understood that the moment you announce your enemy, you have surrendered your apex signature and become predictable biomass. To be a master, you must first become psychologically repulsed by the concept of honorable combat. Silent warfare is the activation of the anti-chew, the refusal to be operationally digested, protocol for your final internal dominance. The Matrix wants you to be assertive and outspoken, words that mean harvestable and weak. Absolute sovereignty is a biological siege of the strategic baseline. It is the visual rage of the architect, seeing the social grid for what it is, a series of drama hooks, stimulus-response lures, and deciding to be the one who shorts the circuit by being indifferently phantom. You must develop a clinical cold contempt for mainstream conflict resolution. Standing up for yourself is a horizontal bond for the herd to keep them tethered to a common level of social exhaustion. Absolute presence is a vertical tool for the elite. You must learn to occupy the psychological high ground by controlling the flow of your own biological signals. Use the temporal noose of the total information blackout to drive the enemy's influence into a state of paranoid dissonance. Use the false safety of a calm robotic delivery to mask the activation of your total internal independence. This is the collar of freedom. By mastering the art of the unmoved soul, you become the only person in the room whose impact is an unshakable physical fact. The one who can go the longest without taking credit for the kill is the one who eventually owns the battlefield. Your time is the temporal noose, and your need for a witness to your power is the knot. Every threat you issue to feel superior and every confrontation you initiate to prove your point is a signature on your own biological death warrant. I command you, initiate the second stage of the warfare rearmament. Your mind is a biological engine, and it is currently being choked by the ego sludge of the unworthy. You must perform a total neural asset reset. Stop being confrontational, the industrial waste designed to keep you at the bottom of the ledger. Stop being a node in their network of mutual combat. Stop being a unit of compliance in their ledger of men who can be baited into a fight. You must prune your life with the collar of absolute sovereignty. If a victory requires you to be seen to be felt, the victory is a biological failure. You must learn to love the weight of the absolute sovereignty. You must learn to love the friction-heavy hours where the noise of the collective is muted and your dominance is the only signal in the dark. This is the monolith strategy, becoming a biological fortress that is the ghost by choice and sovereign by design. Command: upgrade the stealth or be the target. Your biological trajectory has reached the terminal velocity of combative neutralization. Look at your vindication threshold, the exact moment your nervous system triggers a panic response because you have entered a space of high-tension rivalry and refused to speak your truth, ignored the social safety valves of direct confrontation, and entered the high-stakes vacuum where you are the only only causal ghost in a world of reactive noise. You are a biological system in a state of chronic activation decay. The system has successfully replaced your apex stealth sovereignty with a series of honor protocols disguised as standing up for yourself. You no longer seek to dominate the strategic landscape through unmoving, invisible impact. You seek to win the argument. You no longer seek to be the sovereign. You seek to be seen as the winner. This is the visual rage of the terminal slave, seeing your life force being digitized and archived in public feuds and legal victories, while your physical reality remains a quiet, managed enclosure of unfulfilled DNA. You are breathing in the toxic fumes of a collective that demands your visibility as a form of tribute, leaving you lightheaded, fragmented, and fundamentally easy to dismantle because your victory is least to their recognition. The system doesn't want your empire. It wants your drama to be the foundation of its perpetual control over your temporal sovereignty. Return to the ancient hierarchy, the law of the unbreaking monolith. In the primal world, the master was the one who could remain a biological void, even in the center of total strategic collapse. Your ancestor, the sovereign of the absolute cold, understood that power was a product of operational decoupling. He mastered primal grounding by becoming an impenetrable core, a figure whose value was his own capacity for total, unblinking invisibility, and whose refusal to show his hand was the only law. He understood that to seek public vindication is to confess a lack of internal gravity. If you are participating in the heroic script provided by the herd, you are acknowledging that their opinion is the barometer of your reality. He used his silent sovereignty to create a cognitive resonance of absolute, unshakable divinity by being the only non-identified variable in a room full of puppets. By being the master of his own internal feedback, he forced the environment to treat his ghost signal as the new truth. He was a master of the visual rage of the unblinking sun, the ability to look at the conflict probes of the rival and see only the static they represented. He understood that the human brain is a machine that runs on recognition loops, and by cutting the loop, he triggered a biological rebirth in his own command. To be a master, you must first become psychologically unreceptive to the need to be acknowledged. Silent warfare is the activation of the anti-chew protocol for your final mental expansion. The Matrix wants you to be assertive and outspoken, words that mean harvestable and weak. Absolute sovereignty is a biological jailbreak of the impact. It is the visual rage of the architect, seeing the social grid for what it is, a series of drama control nodes, stimulus response lures, and deciding to be the one who burns the grid. You must develop a clinical cold contempt for mainstream justice ethics. Standing up for your rights is a horizontal bond for the herd. Absolute presence is a vertical tool for the elite. You must learn to occupy the psychological high ground by controlling the flow of your own biological signals. Use the temporal noose of total informational and social withdrawal to drive the system's influence into a state of recognition dissonance. Use the false safety of a calm, robotic delivery to mask the viral infection of your total noncompliance with the beta norms. This is the color of freedom. By mastering the art of the unmoved soul, you become the only person in the room whose value is not being broadcast from their current public victory. You are not arguing, you are deleting the noise. The one who can go the longest without checking if the enemy is suffering is the one who controls the end scenario. Your time is the temporal noose, and your need for a witness to your revenge is the knot. Every threat you offer to the unworthy is a signature on your own biological death warrant. I command you. Initiate the final warfare imperative. This is the tax of insight. You have been given the key to the vault of biological stealth. To keep it, you must use it as a weapon of total social dominance. You must become a living monolith of unshakable impact. You are no longer a peer, a colleague, or a friend. You are a sovereign operator. You must perform a total system liquidation. If a person, a technology, or a relationship requires you to be visible to function, it is a biological saboteur. You must prune your life with the collar of the absolute zero. You are building a fortress of results in a world of digital shadows. Your absolute unreachability is the physical proof of your biological leverage. You do not provide feedback. You create a reality in which you are the only absolute truth. You do not seek to be heroic. You are the law itself. You are the architect of your own warfare, and the world is merely a mirror reflecting your ascent.